U.S. inflation is heating up despite improvements in supply chain pressures. This comes as business activity in the United States picked up in February, according to the latest U.S. Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) Composite Output Index from S&P Global on February 21. Although supply chain disruptions showed signs of easing, inflation remains stubbornly elevated as average prices charged for both goods and services rose in February at the fastest rate since last October. The PMI report registered 50.2, a jump from 46.8 in January, for the highest reading in 8 months, signaling a marginal rise in output after 7 months of continual decline. Despite a boost in January, the goods production sector has tumbled into its steepest downturn since 2009, except for the period during the pandemic lockdowns. Despite taking a hit from higher interest rates and rising cost of living expenses, respondents have indicated that their economic outlook has brightened amid the possible sign of peak inflation and the immediate pullback from the threat of recession for now. Service sector improves while manufacturing remains sluggish. The beginning of the year also saw growth largely confined to services, partially due to a warmer winter this year, while manufacturing continued to decline. However, it should be noted that the services activity gauge still remains below its long-run average, hinting that the boost may be temporary. The amount of goods bought by manufacturers fell for a 7th straight month in February, generating another decline in inventories as firms sought to control cost overheads. The downturn in the manufacturing sector took pressure off raw material prices, allowing supplier delivery times to see their sharpest improvement since May 2009. On the other hand, average goods and services prices rose to their steepest rate since October, partly caused by additional wage pressures, but the increase was the second smallest since late 2020. This suggests some worrying stickiness to inflation, despite the easing of supply chain pressures. The manufacturing downturn has also weakened suppliers' pricing power. This shifting of pricing power from suppliers to buyers has historically indicated that consumer price inflation may ease in the months ahead, said the report. Concerns rise that rising wages will accelerate inflation. However, there is a rising concern that a wage price spiral will accelerate price growth and lead the Federal Reserve to push for higher interest rates. Higher borrowing rates, in turn, may suppress any of the nascent expansion recorded by the February PMI surveys. The improved supply situation has taken price pressures out of manufacturing supply chains, but the survey data underscore how the upward driving force on inflation has now shifted to wages amid the tight labor market, said Chris Williamson, chief business economist at S&P Global Market Intelligence. By potentially stoking concerns over a wage price spiral, accelerating service sector price growth will add to calls for higher interest rates, which could in turn subdue the nascent expansion. As the year progresses, the concern over rising inflation and its potential impact on the economy remains high. Despite some improvements in supply chain disruptions, inflation shows no signs of abating. The recent shift in price pressures from supply chains to wages adds another layer of complexity to the situation. Businesses are facing challenges due to higher interest rates and rising living costs, but some respondents have expressed optimism about the economic outlook. They believe there might be signs of peak inflation and the possibility of avoiding an imminent recession. The service sector has seen growth aided in part by a warmer winter, while manufacturing continues to struggle. However, there are concerns that the boost in services may be temporary, as the activity gauge still remains below its long-run average. The decline in the manufacturing sector has taken some pressure off raw material prices, resulting in improvements in supplier delivery times. Yet the stickiness of inflation persists, driven partly by additional wage pressures. With pricing power shifting from suppliers to buyers, there is hope that consumer price inflation might ease in the coming months. However, there are rising concerns that a wage price spiral could accelerate price growth and prompt the Federal Reserve to push for higher interest rates. Such a move could potentially suppress the nascent expansion recorded in the February PMI surveys. Overall, the economic landscape remains uncertain, and keeping inflation in check while supporting economic growth poses a delicate balancing act for policymakers and businesses alike. As the situation evolves, it's essential to monitor the trends in inflation and wages to better understand the implications for the economy and the potential need for further actions to maintain stability.